and welcome to the Lamstan MBA CPT session. Today, I, Stanzin Idon, and my friend Jigme Dangmo will be hosting today's session. I'll move forward with a brief description about Lamstan. Lamstan is an organization of young people who share the same passion for assisting their fellow students and professionals from every corner of the globe. Students of different grades are offered assistance to pursue their dreams in life. Various students, due to incompetent facilities as well as opportunities in their own native areas, find the necessity for moving to alien cities to pursue their studies of a career. Pursuing studies or hunting jobs in other cities opens a whole new can of worms. In their crusade, students often get trapped into dilemmas such as which college to study, which course to opt for, will engineering do the best for them, or could they opt for commerce courses, and the list goes for eternity. In all this chaos, many students end up studying in wrong colleges, schools, or leaving the idea altogether and returning back to their native homes. Henceforth, at Lumsden, we connect students from remote areas to mentors and professionals at global level.
So for today's session, we would like to welcome our two guests. So firstly, we have Ms. Rigzin Yangdol. She is currently working as an assistant manager in one of the multinational companies. And next we have Mr. Stanzin Namgyal. He is currently working as a brand manager for one of the largest newspaper of the country, and he has passed from the IIMA, that is Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Both of them are here to share their pre, post, and during MBA experiences and how they have set up their respective careers in this corporate world. Hope you all will take advantage of this session.
So first we'll have presentation on career after MBA, and then all aspirants are requested to please mute your mics. We will have the question and answer session after that, and you all are welcome to unmute yourself and ask questions. We can take your questions afterwards. So Achale, you can start your PPT.
Yes, thanks, Tanzin. Before starting, I would like to thank Cartoon for inviting both of us to share our experiences. So we have made a PPT, but we don't want to make it very boring because it's gonna be very boring as to what kind of steps and what kind of things to study and everything. So you can just point it out whenever if the session is going on a boring mode. So we can just change and make it a much more interactive session. I did my MBA from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, IIT Delhi. Anyway, so I would like to just ask Tanzin to introduce himself also briefly so that we can start together.
Julia, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I am Sanjay Namgyal, and like they said, I did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Prior to that, I was a fresher, so I have some perspectives on that also. And like Rigzin said, it might get a little boring, so please keep the questions coming in, and we'll try and keep it as interactive as possible.
Yeah, so both of us, we have made this presentation in a very education from the point of view of India, because we know MBA is a very vast degree, and then the possibilities are immense, and the opportunities that we can explore on the international platform are also too much, but that will lead to another session probably. So we have kept it very crisp for the India session. So I would like to just share my screen. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
All good.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, so this is just a brief introduction of both of us. I did my grad. So we both of us have very diverse, different, educational background. I did my graduation bachelor's in economics from Lady Shriram College for Women, and Stanzin did his BTech from DTU in computer science. So I think we feel the mix that a typical MBA degree will have. We represent both. Except we both were freshers when we did our MBA. So, that can be one of the exceptions, because when we think about MBA, normally the group that represents is are like 70 to 30% of 70% work ex people and 30% freshers. Sanjay, would you like to add anything on this?
No, I completely agree. And I think MBA without experience and with experience are two very different experiences in that sense. And sadly, for in that sense, we'll be limited to what we have gone through.
Yes.
But we'll try and bring as much perspective as possible from at least our post MBA work experience and what we feel could have been different with our MBA. Yeah.
Yes. So a brief introduction to what MBA basically is. Like, MBA, getting an MBA might not guarantee a perfect, career like, many other degrees. But it's one of the highly coveted professional degrees that people aspire to, possess. So in just, like the book or bookish language, it's one of the MBA degrees that helps in developing skills for careers in business and management. And however, as I've mentioned, it's not limited to strictly the corporate world. The same knowledge base can be used in various other fields like the public sector and anything that basically you want to do in life. A career like a degree in MBA will definitely help, and that's why I want to just share the mindset with for everyone that just but I think this slide is okay. So the basic information that the degree in itself does not guarantee like that you will definitely land up in a very fancy corporate career or anything, but definitely it does teaches you many things that will help you in your career for the future. So why to pursue an MBA? So there are many reasons. I've just we have just jotted down few. First is like the personal development, which an MBA degree or the MBA education in itself, like the 2-year or 1-year course, helps you a lot in honing the skills of like managerial and organizational skills. It does a lot to your self confidence. Like it will. I won't say that getting an MBA would make you a public speaker and then you suddenly will go to go on to stages and then break everything. But it definitely helps you in like how will you want to behave, and then what kind of and topics, or what kind of career you want to have after that. It definitely helps you in that. And from the a good career, like definitely getting an MBA degree will help you in various other career opportunities. And it's like this degree will definitely guarantee a good employment rate. And Sanjay, would you like to talk about the international exposure and other points?
Sure. Like I'll just briefly touch on the points which you also mentioned. I think the one of the key strengths of MBA as a degree is that the 2 years or whatever you spend during the course, because it's such a so many people from such diverse backgrounds come to one single place, and the interactions which you have with such different people, the perspective it gives you on life and many different things is, I think that is one of the key reasons why I really appreciate my MBA. It's not necessarily just the academics part of it, but everything minus academics also matters a lot. In terms of international exposure, I was lucky enough to be a part of the exchange program from IMA. So I did roughly 3 months of my management training in France in a university called EDHEC in Lille. It's one of the top universities there. But I think what exchange allows you is two opportunities. One is obviously experiencing the academic culture of another country and meeting different people. But the other would definitely be the cultural and civic exposure you get, because the type of development and industries and people over there are so different that every single little thing impacts you differently. But yeah, definitely international exposure for me was a very important part of my MBA. Professional networks, definitely the alum groups of most MBAs, the alumni groups of most MBAs are very, very active. And not only do they give you a network of highly trained professionals with exceptional experience to reach out to, but it also gives you a platform to kind of interact with those people, and also try and like the next point is change career post MBA as well. In terms of changing career, as you guys already know, both of us are freshers, so usually what MBA does is, for example, if you've done 2-3 years of, say, technical job somewhere, and you wish that you feel that you're getting stagnated somewhere, or you want to explore something, then MBA is definitely a very good option to switch. And I think that is one thing which maybe Rigzin and I don't have the luxury of, in case we get bored and want to shift a career. That is definitely something which we can't. And another thing definitely is, once you have work experience, you have a lot of knowledge in terms of how companies run, and how different organizations and people behave. And I think that can be a very important raw material to your MBA. So that is one way of looking at it as well. And money, definitely it does give you better career opportunities in terms of earning more money. But honestly, if you are an expert in a technical side as well, you might earn equal or more money than an MBA. So number 6, though, it does hold true in the general sense, but I would suggest that in case you are really good at your technical aspect of it, you might not want to just take number 6 as your deciding factor to shift and do an MBA.
Definitely, that's why I put the money factor at the very last point in priorities. Yeah. So yeah, MBA definitely, the one of the most important points, as Tanzin has pointed out, like professional network that you create in an MBA college with diverse group of people coming from different backgrounds, and the kind of, because MBA, the curriculum in itself is very group focused. Like the entire learning process is very group learning process. Like the moment you enter an MBA institute, you are divided into different groups, and then you have to basically do everything from your basic MBA learning till your major projects and everything in a group process. And that is, I think, one of the main factors that MBA inculcates in you, that you have to work in a environment where you will have to definitely work with many people. And then that it's not an individual kind of a experience that you would say, no, I will do much better alone and individually, because people when we are studying, group studies and everything are like a very secondary factor. We believe that if I study alone, then I will do it much better. But then in an MBA, I think group learning is one of the most important factors, and this leads to as I've mentioned, long lasting friendships, and of course professional network for the future. Like you may need, for whatever reason, like switching a career, switching a job, or getting other recommendations and everything. So this really holds really true. And moving on, so the steps, I think this might get a little boring for everyone. So if you want to have, if you have any questions or any thing that you want us to move faster, then we can just skip the parts, or if you have doubts later on, we can cover it later. But this is basically steps for getting an MBA in India. So, Stanton, would you like to just talk about your bachelor's degree and everything, the eligibility, the small part?
Yeah, so you guys would have noticed already that Rigzin and I come from very different backgrounds in terms of even 12th as well as our undergraduation. So usually MBA doesn't have any such restrictions on what bachelor's degree you have, but you definitely would need one. And in terms of work experience, they are fairly open as to should you have work experience or not. But mind you, a lot of institutions will place some priority in terms of degree, will place some priority in terms of work experience also. So that can be a factor, but otherwise, like anyone and anyone can do an MBA. There was this story I remember that a father and daughter did their MBA together. So like in that sense, literally eligibility should not be the issue.
Definitely. So I think, that's why we have written in any field. Basically, MBA is not restricted to any kind of educational background or any kind of work experience that you have had. So in my college, we have people who did their, MBBS or dental degree, and then, then they were looking forward to do an MBA. So, it's not restricted to say, if you've done an economics degree or you've done, BCom degree, that only then you will be willing to do an MBA. So it's a completely irrespective of whatever you have done in the past. If you want a shift in the career, or shift in or just the aspect that you want to learn all the business and management concepts, then MBA is the degree for you. So that is one of the eligibility. So basic eligibility criteria from the educational background perspective. Then the next process is that you do have to, prepare for all these. So we'll cover that in the next slides. So one of the, in India, there are many exams, which is sort of a gateway for you to, enter into notable institutes and very respected institutes. So I've just listed, and these are, mind you, just a few of the exams that, you can give, but there are many other exams also. And so if you just see that, CAT is, of course, very well known to everyone, and that's the most common, and the most important exam, that we see in India. And the rest are also like, the important, many institutions does not accept CAT, and many institutions have their own set of exams for their admission criteria. So CAT and XAT, SNAP, IFT exam, IRMA, MyCat, and TISNAT. So basically, these are all their own sort of examinations. But the basic structure and the, if you may ask what's the syllabus, and also it's the structure remains the same more or less. It's the just basic understanding of your whatever you have done. All the we'll also cover in the next slides. So it's like, these are some sorts of examinations that you have to give. In the the dates and dates of the examination again varies from year to year. Like for example, now this year, due to the entire situation, the dates of various examinations might change. And so we haven't included any dates or anything, but these are certain examinations that you can give. And next, Stanzin, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, so usually the process would start from obviously filling the form, giving the exam, getting the exam scores, and the main criteria. So there are some hygiene criteria which are there when in terms of the exam score. Usually there are 3 to 4 sections in the paper, which can include your logical thinking, some mathematical thinking, a little bit of English language, etc. And there most of them have a section-wise cutoff as well. Apart from the CAT score which you will have, they will also focus on your academics. So that would include your 10th score and your 12th score. Diversity can, like I said initially, like anyone with any degree can apply, appear for an MBA exam. But diversity, so sometimes they do focus on diversity. So they might give you like extra score if you're coming from a more diverse background in terms of education or co-curricular, extracurricular activities. And another thing which I would like to point out in terms of diversity, and which Rigzin also covered, is that like it's never limited to anything. People who have done medical, law, design, fashion, anyone can obviously appear. In terms of work experience, like I said, it's like a bell curve. They do have a minimum. Some MBA degrees and some MBA, like many would actually say that to actually go into a genuine real MBA, you would need 5 years of experience. There are a lot of institutions which have a 5-year cutoff. Most of the Indian institutions don't have that. But if you go to like outside, otherwise 5 years is treated as the minimum cutoff for work experience. So in case you're looking for foreign MBAs, you might want to look at that. But in terms of work experience, it is definitely a bell curve. There is a optimal work experience, but it is definitely not a very, like it can be a deciding factor, but it is definitely like everything obviously is important. MBA, like the course itself, the criteria and administration process is also very broad. Like Rigzin, sorry.
Yeah. So I would like to just add, these are very basic structure that people and all the colleges follow, like exam score, definitely the examination that you take, like the CAT and XAT and everything. So they are one of the deciding factors that, for you to qualify, to get shortlisted for those institutions, like, and then you, and over and above, like after your CAT score or like XAT score or anything, your academics play a very important role. If you have a very good academic background and you have been doing pretty well in your academics in your school and college, then it does give you a pretty good, decent advantage over someone who may have a better CAT or XAT score. But if your academics are, good, then it might cover for the, lack in the other score. And diversity, as Stanzin has already spoken, refers to different kinds of diversity, like educational diversity, and even gender diversity is one of the very critical factors in India. Like as we know, we are like the government is focusing on women empowerment and like focusing on women in different genders. So if you belong to our women and the third gender or anything, then colleges do consider all these backgrounds. So this is one of the factor. And moving forward, the final admission process after, like, suppose you have, like, if you have already focused, you are shortlisted basis your exam score, academics, diversity, and work experience, then you go for the next process. That is the GDPI and VAT process. Now, we have included everything, but not all the colleges may follow the same structure. Some have the exam plus GD, that's the own process, and some have GD, personal interview, and the written ability test also. So basically, this is normally to test how you basically behave in a group discussion, and the personal interview is more sort of your own one-to-one connection, or the with the panel, the professors who may interview you to know you better. But in a GD, you kind of in a setup, that is like a kind of to test basically, I think, your confidence and how you behave in a more public kind of a scenario. And written ability test is again to test your more of a academic, and these are like more of an academic nature, which you have to be better prepared with, because the written ability tests are mostly on, like, say, your general knowledge and even personal things also, but it's mostly that you have to prepare well in advance in order to clear all these steps. So group discussion is also mostly for different colleges. You have different, they give you a particular topic, and then you have a group of, like, say, 5 to 10 people, and then you have to discuss among yourself, and then they do a sieve out of people, and then you go for the personal interview. That's how it happens. Sanjay, you may share your own experience of the IIM, if it happens any different, or is it the same thing?
Yeah, so at least for the process for the IIMs, we had the VAT and the PI. We didn't have the group discussion stage, at least the ones which I appeared for. Right. So VAT, obviously, like Rigzin said, can literally be any topic. Usually they try and focus on any current affairs which is going on, but it can literally be from anywhere. For example, one of the ones, like one of the VATs which I remember was on juvenile justice and how the justice system can treat underage criminal activities or offenses in that sense. So like I said, VAT can literally be from anywhere, but the best thing to prepare for VAT would definitely be always like reading the news, the newspapers, any articles which come up, just be in touch with what's going on around. Personal interview, like Rigzin said, is a one-on-one session between you and a panel. The panel can be anywhere between 2 to 4 to 5 people, and they are usually a mix of the professors from the institution and a few more people. So in terms of personal interview, what I did to prepare for it at least was join mock interviews. So you would basically go and give an interview to one of the institutions, and they'll give feedback and how you can improve it. So that did help a lot in terms of my confidence in how I should introduce myself, etc., and what all should I prepare. So that is definitely there. GD, in case Rigzin, you have anything to speak on, you can share. Otherwise, you can go forward.
Yeah, basically, I think it's already like for it's like VAT only. Like they throw you any topic in the world, and then you have to discuss with the rest of the people. So all the steps that we have mentioned in the slides are very straightforward. Each and every factor have we can do a proper brief, a detailed discussion on each and every factor, because these are very important things. But since we do not have that kind of luxury of time right now, we are just pointing out that these are the things. But if students have any other discussion on how to prepare for it properly, what kind of things they should take care, then we can do a proper session in a different setup. But these are just points that we are touching upon now. And yeah, if you talk about now the MBA program in itself, then we have two kind of setups. One is the general MBA, where basically you learn about all the courses, and then you learn about you have a general information about, you don't specialize, you do just generally you do a degree in everything basically, so that you keep your space open for anything you want to pursue in future. A specialization course would be like, if you are very interested in, say, a finance kind of a career, then MBA in finance, or marketing in, so basically a particular field that you may want to choose. So, for example, if you see, then you have marketing management, HR, that is human resource management, retail, finance, tourism, rural management, supply chain management. These are basically, specializations that the Indian institutes offer. And there are special colleges like particular for, different specializations. But, if you say, I don't know about an IIMs, probably I think we do a general MBA there, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in like IIT, from where I did, it was a general MBA. But if we move forward, like for example, we have just jotted down the top colleges for India, for MBA in India. So we definitely have the IIMs, IIM A, B, C, L, and all the new IIMs we haven't included, but then, all the IIMs definitely. Then we have the Faculty of Management Studies that also offers you a general MBA degree. And then we have ISB, also in one of the most respected colleges in the country. And then we have XLRI. So XLRI in particular is only for, if you say HR, human resource management. So these, and MBI you have, this is basically management, and so more of a social science, social background management degree. And you have IIFT. IIFT is also, more of an international management that you study with respect to import, exports, that kind of a specialization. Then you have NIPI, which is more of a supply chain kind of a management. We focus on the more industrial supply chain, background. And then, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Sanzan, would you like to just continue? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically in terms of colleges, you can definitely, so these are one of the few top ones. You can definitely do your online research, because not IIM might not be the best choice for you, depending on what you want to do. Maybe an FMS is better, maybe a Xavier's is better, because XLRI is definitely one of the top colleges in terms of HR, and every college in that sense has made a niche for itself. So
yeah,
you might want to do a first cut of reading online to understand which college might be better suited for you.
Yes. So we have, there could be different reasons why you may want to choose a particular college. While, IIMs are the most, coveted and respected, institutes in the country, you may want to, like, sometimes, for example, you may want to go to, choose FMS, because that is one of the most respected and one of the most, if you see from the point of view of return on investment, then,
Definitely.
FMS is one of the most, colleges with which does not charge you a hefty amount for your degree, but at the same time, gives you the same amount of knowledge and the same degree. So, there could be many reasons for you to choose a particular career, like a particular institute. And of course, your score and everything will definitely define which institute you may want to join. But, these are again a different set of, if you have different questions as to, which institute and everything, which we will also cover in the Q&A. So basically, we have just listed down the college's name here. And the exam structure, as Sanzan briefly pointed out in the earlier part, where we have the exam structure for most of the exams is basically, same. We have verbal ability, which is mostly a test of your English language, and you have to see basically your comprehension ability and everything. And then you have your quantitative aptitude for your, so the mathematical and the analytic part of the brain that, so they want to test. Then you have the critical reasoning component, and the general awareness, GK, Indian and international awareness about, how up to date you are with the world. So this is basically in all a basic exam, which may you prepare for different examinations, not only for MBA, but different kind of examinations in the country. So these are the basic skills or components or syllabus basically that you have to learn. Anything else, Sanzan, you would like to add here?
Sorry, I think I just lost touch. Yeah, in terms of exam, hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of exam structures, yes, you like this would be the general structure. And I think the key thing to note over here would be the sectional cutoffs, which usually most of the exams have. So you might want to brush up on things which might be your weaknesses in case your verbal ability is not that.
Yeah.
Athletics part of it is not that great. Focus on that side, because at the end of the day you need to have at least a basic hygiene cutoff across all categories. So that is one thing to note. Otherwise, yes, it's more or less what Rigzin
Yeah,
said.
so basically in the cutoff part, again, as Stanzin has stressed, like for example, if I may give my own example, then, I did pretty well in all the other sections except for the quantitative part, because of which I lost on to very good colleges, because they have the sectional cutoffs. And that is one important factor that you should definitely, when you are preparing for your exams, you should, if your weakness is, language, then you may have to, prepare well on that factor. Or if your weakness is critical reasoning, then the whole preparation has to be very balanced. So you have to focus on each and every factor, because you cannot just say, okay, since I know the other three things better, I might just, do that one better and leave the other, the fourth one, which you are not pretty confident about. So you have to be good at all the sections for you to be able to shortlist in all the institutions. So that is one thing. Now, the types of MBA that you may want or want to pursue, that there are different kinds. So that is one. The most common one is like the 1 to 2 year MBA course, like all the IIMs, and basically the majority of the colleges in the country offers a 2-year course. 2-year like a PGDM degree or an MBA degree. PGDM is basically a diploma that the IIMs offer, and the MBA degree that rest of the other colleges offer. So this is the most common one. Then you have the part-time MBA. Basically, might not be very relevant for the people that have joined today, because I hope everyone is a student here. So this is basically for people who are working and do not want to leave their job and do an MBA. So they do also. So people working people also have an opportunity to pursue MBA. So all the institutions, be it IIMs or other colleges, they have this part-time MBA option. And then you have the executive MBA, which is more like suppose you have already worked for a few years, like 3 years or 5 years or 7, even 10 years of work experience if you have, and if you want to do an educational degree in management, then this is one degree that you can opt for, the executive MBA. Then comes the distance learning, which is mostly online kind of an MBA degree that you can pursue, that which many people nowadays are doing, because this is normally offered by international colleges. So people do for the requirement of like the brand name or any other purpose, they may offer this particular option. For maybe it's very economical, or they do not have the time to dedicate 2 years of life to MBA. So this is one of the very good options that people can opt for. Yeah. So anything, Stanzin, you want to add on this?
No, it's all good.
Okay, so if we talk about the curriculum, I think Stanzin, you may want to touch on this factor. Yeah, curriculum.
Yeah. So again, it depends. Curriculum across MBA would depend on the institution you are, studying in. So I'll give my 2 bits on my experience. I'm Ahmedabad. So first year is definitely more of a general MBA in terms of the courses. Everyone gets to study everything. And what happens is after you're done with the first year, then in the second year, you get to choose the subjects which you want to do. And it's like a bidding war, and every student bids for the subjects they want, and that's a very interesting aspect of it. But you do get to tune or choose what subjects you want to study in second year. So even though it's a general management course, you can specialize in a sense if you want to. Internship is compulsory internship which happens. This is usually for summers, for 2 months it happens, and companies come to the college, and their shortlistings happen, and then you give interviews, and then you do your internship. And internship is definitely one of the best ways to at least test the career which you want to go into. And
Yes, and
Yeah.
I just want to add that, like, if anyone if feels that we are going in a very boring tangent, then people might just stop. Then we can do it as a very interactive kind of session. That we just jump onto Q&As right away. If this is going on a very boring note, yeah. Sandan, please continue.
Definitely. So yeah, I was just talking about the summer internship program. So it's a compulsory 2 month internship which you have to do, and I think it is a lovely opportunity to try and experience the career you might want to try. So sadly, I did not take my internships very seriously, but I was still able to get a really good offer. But I would suggest everyone to kind of really focus, like if and when you have an opportunity and you decide to do an MBA, to really focus on internships, because a lot of internships do convert into final offers, and that not only makes your second life very relaxed in that sense. What also happens is, for final placements, there are actually a very few companies which come compared to summer internships, or even if they come, the number of offers are fairly low. So internships is definitely one of the best ways into getting into where you want, because you get to experience the company and you have more opportunities. In terms of international exposure, I've already talked about my exchange program. So 3 months in Europe, again, a mix of academics and travel. And I think I would relive those 3 months every day, every year, forever if possible. But yeah, I would like Rixin to now share her 2 cents on this.
Yeah. So basically, from the perspective of curriculum, it's the same. Even IIT we had the very similar approach. We had like first and the second year. In first year, we basically did everything. We learned about economics. We did personal management. Behavioral science and law, strategy. Basically everything that may be useful for you in any kind of career that you want to aim for. Then again, you have the summer placements, and I also did my 2 months of MBA, like internship here in Gurgaon in one of the medical instruments company. And second year again, it's like more of a focused kind of a learning. Like I did my major in marketing and my minor, and like because we had this concept of major and minor in my college. Like you can choose two sorts of in courses which you may want to incline your degree towards. However, you do get a general MBA degree at the end, but you can focus. So I did marketing and finance as one of my two of my core focuses. And from the point of view of international exposure, also we also had not a sort of an exchange program, but we had an exposure kind of a tour session in Europe, wherein we went to Germany and Amsterdam, Netherlands, where we went to different kind of colleges. Like in Germany, we went to Leipzig Graduate School of Management, where we learned about different factors of, like, say, Industry 4.0 and different factors we touched upon, and the kind of exposure you may not get on a daily basis in here in India. It's like we got the opportunity to visit different factories, understand the entire supply chain, and how the industry works. So that kind of an exposure is, I think, MBA as a degree, I think, offers. Most of the colleges, basically, at least they give you an opportunity to explore out of books. And moreover, if I talk about the curriculum, MBA degree in itself is very, sort of a not a theoretical kind of a course. You have like case studies. Every class is a case study session basically. The professors come with very interesting case studies about different companies, and we discuss, and then everyone, there's no right or wrong answer in any class. Basically, it's your interpretation. It's how you would handle a situation in a particular company, in a particular case, if you are like facing a crisis situation. So it's all about doing and learning in MBA. You may want to explore different, and at the same time you have case study competitions in different colleges. So that is in IIMs, or like say all the colleges, we have different sessions where people from different colleges come together on one platform, and we do case study competitions where you learn about different factors and different companies also, like for example HUL and PNG, they come with their own case studies, and they want young students to, kind of use your creativity and come up with different solutions, wherein you get to, use your expertise or say your creativity in order to reach a solution. So that is what an MBA curriculum basically looks like, very, practical, pragmatic kind of a, situation you are put in for at least 2 years, and where you learn by doing. Yeah, so that is one thing. Yeah, so these are just, for the fun part, because we didn't want the entire presentation to be very boring. So this is few of Stanzin's experiences. Stanzin, you would like to share like where all these pictures were taken?
Yeah. So basically, I'll start from the rightmost. Rightmost, that's Notre Dame, obviously, which sadly got burnt last year. Then the Eiffel Tower. On left, that picture near the cliff is in Norway. And the bottom one is the institution where I was studying. So in international, I think like exchange, if possible, if you can, I think it's really amazing and you should definitely try and opt for it.
Right. So, and this is one of the, opportunities that I got. This is the Volkswagen factory in the Czech Republic that we went and we explored, and the Skoda Museum, where, generally in your common life, or you don't get these opportunities to go and, see firsthand how an industry is working. So that is one of the experiences that we wanted to share. So jobs after MBA, and again, we have not listed everything because the opportunities are immense. Like, we have written here, sky is the limit. Again, from a very, since both of us are very, new to this entire workforce kind of environment, like, we are more closer to you guys being students than in a work life kind of an environment. So these are very basic that we just jotted down. So basically, when you are in an MBA institute, campus placement is one of the most important factors that Stanzin also mentioned. An internship is one of the ways, the gateways that can offer you a final placement. But when you do get a placement, these are kind of roles that you may get basis on the kind of the kind of inclination you have. For example, I, when got placed, I was hired as a management trainee, like, so that we learn by doing in the entire training kind of a session. And then so people are hired on different roles, basically an associate, assistant manager, HR manager, or operations, which are more of a supply chain kind of a factor, and analyst if you are into more of a investment banking kind of a inclination, finance and account manager. So these are basically roles that we have jotted down, and the kind of opportunity you may get could be completely different from what we have written here, because this is very open-ended as to what kind of a career opportunity you may get after an MBA. Or some people can opt for not even going for a job, and then they would just like to say, we might just start our own business and do a startup, or because those are also things that we have seen firsthand. Like, we have in our colleges examples of people not willing for a job but started their own business immediately. So these are things that you may experience and see. So it's very open. Again, these, I think people may have a lot of questions, so we have kept it very open, not jotting down everything. Stanzin, would you like to say something here?
Yeah, so I think another thing, important thing to look over here is, if you do join MBA with experience, you will definitely have an edge over others in terms of where you get placed. It's usually called lateral hiring, where you don't start from the bottom in the company, like bottom of the like bottom of the management, obviously bottom of the management of the company, but somewhere in between or even higher up, because your prior experiences gives the impression that you have worked in a corporate environment and setting, and you do have the basic skills and understanding which is required, and hence you can start from a plus XYZ place. That is one thing. The other thing, which she talked about, was obviously entrepreneurship. Like, everyone who does an MBA does not necessarily want a career in the corporate world. They might want to start a business of their own, or might want to go back and join a family business or something else, or even join politics. And a lot of people post MBA also join a lot of political parties, not in terms of politics, but in terms of managing the political party and, doing marketing campaigns for them, etc., etc. So in terms of what she's written, the headline is definitely true. Sky is the limit. You can definitely go anywhere and anywhere after MBA. In terms of management, obviously, going back to technical might be a challenge, but that's always there. Another thing which I would like to point out is that a lot of colleges do have entrepreneurship programs, in the sense that the institute might support your entrepreneurship idea for a year or two if they feel that it's worth it. Like in at least IIM Ahmedabad, it's called the Maverick program. Till for the first 2 years, the college will give you a monthly salary, kind of to at least keep the basics flowing. But obviously, the rest of the thing is obviously yours. But in that sense, they do give you security. So that might also be a factor in terms of what college you might want to go after. Yeah.
Right. So, again, in MBA, like one of the main focuses, especially in India, I won't talk about other countries, but especially in India, the reason that people do MBA is for a very better opportunity, or a different career field that they want to achieve in their life. And the kind of institute you choose, because brand name in a country like in India, or possibly in everywhere in the world, is very important. The kind of degree that you have in IIM or any other coveted institutes, which the industry knows is a very important factor. So, we always suggest, and I would suggest that people who are willing and looking, forward for a career or in the corporate world, then you have to do and you have to focus your studies in such a way that you gain an admission into one of the well-respected colleges in the country, the IIMs and rest of the other very reputed colleges, because brand name does matter in the country when you talk about a degree, professional degree like an MBA, because you may hear every day about the kind of job situation, the job crisis situation India is going through, and we have thousands of institutes in the country which offers the same degree, same course and everything. But, at the end, somebody from IIM might, just score a very nice job. But at the same time, with the same degree, if you have come from a very normal college, might not get that opportunity to explore. So the brand name in this factor is very important. So we would stress that, if anybody is looking and willing to join an institute, that they should really focus and, study hard so that they gain admission in one of the best colleges. So that is one factor. Now, if we want to share our work-life experiences, so that if everyone sees what kind of opportunities you may get in a corporate world. So, Stanzin, yeah.
So, like I said in my introduction, I work for the Economic Times, which is one of the largest newspapers in the country. So, apart from my daily work, which would revolve around managing the brand, looking at the P&Ls, checking the financial health, trying and managing the brand as well as the editorial part of it. Apart from that, we do a lot of events. So these are just some glimpses from the events, and just slightly bragging. Our events are definitely one of the best ones in the country. Like people like Mukesh Ambani, Nirmala Sitharaman, and all sorts of big shots from the corporate and the political world do come for our events. Some of you might be interested in music, and at one of our events, we brought Prateek Kuha to perform. And these are just some pictures of our team from the events. Yeah, that's about it.
Right. So, this may look very attractive to everyone, but, you do have to work really hard, in order to get, such opportunities. We don't want to brag or anything, but, when you do work hard, you do get some, points in your career or, in your job life where you do get to enjoy and meet different sets of people from different walks of life, so that you learn at every point in your life. So again, this is one of few of the pictures that I just, took out from my career of 2 years. So initially when I started out with my career, I went to Thailand for a period of around 9 months, where we had I was a management trainee, and we did also. So I work in a company called the CP Group. It's one of the most well-respected companies in Thailand and also in the world. So so they have different businesses, and I got the opportunity to work in different business firms of that particular company and understand how it works. So and it was that opportunity was you get to experience and meet people from different countries. So I met people from 16 countries, and we worked together, brainstormed together as to how the project should work, and how everything should, how to learn basically. And you from different countries, like you from a Chinese friend, you might learn something else. From a Russian friend, you might learn something else. So that kind of opportunity, in the corporate world or MBA in general does provide, and you really have to work hard and then just use your brain and be on a 24-hour kind of a setup. But it in the end can be very rewarding, like you really have to work hard, but at the same time, it does give you a reward at the end. So yeah, this is in all what we wanted to cover. So I hope, like if you got bored, I'm really sorry, but then we are open to Q&As right now if anyone has any questions.
Okay, thank you so much, both of you. Now, all the aspirants are welcome to ask questions. You can unmute yourself, or you can just put up your questions in the chat box. Please, if you want to ask any questions, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. Hello, actually.
I think you can call us by our name also, like it's no sir or ma'am here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really awkward. Yeah, so my question is that how much time dedication would I need to crack CAT?
Yeah, so that is also a very open-ended question. I took a year to grasp the entire curriculum, syllabus and everything. At the same time, Stanzin cleared it in one go, just after he was in his bachelor's, and then immediately cleared it. So it can be for different people. Stanzin, would you like to add something to this?
I completely agree. So Durjay, the preparation for any exam is not necessarily just the preparation you're doing for that exam, right? Yeah. There is the whole build up till that, till you decided to do CAT. How was your preparation? How was your academic background? How was your preparation been? How was your aptitude? How was your skills? How's your exposure? All that can impact your preparation, right? If you've already been fairly active in terms of academics and things like that, you might not need much of a preparation, right? If you're involved in other extracurricular activities and might neglect a little bit of academics, you might need a little bit more time to prepare for it. So definitely it's an open-ended question. It can literally be like lucky for me, like I got it in my first shot, or you might want to spend a year on it or 2 years on it. It really is a personal thing. But like we said, it's all about focusing on your weakness, because MBA, unlike others where you need to focus on your strengths, is all about balancing everything. So instead of focusing on your strengths, you need to focus a little bit more on your weaknesses. I think that is one suggestion which I can give you.
Yes, and since all these examinations, CAT, XAT, or like every exam that we have pointed out here is one of the most competitive exams in the country. Even international students appear for this exam. So definitely you have to work really hard. Because scoring in CAT and then getting, right now the whole world is into 99.9%. That kind of a numbering world it is. So working hard is definitely very pivotal in your preparation. And you have to, like as we've already mentioned, you have to focus, and Stanzin also already mentioned, you have to focus on your weaknesses, because you cannot balance out anything in all these examinations. You have to be good and you have to score in all the things, because all the sections. So you have to prepare really well. So I did my, I took a coaching for that, so I did prepare. I had all the study materials. I studied for a year and got the score and everything. So you may need a proper plan. You can, if you're in your bachelor's or if you're working, you have to dedicate a good amount of time for the preparation for all the sections and take a lot of tests. I would suggest taking mock tests is one of the most important factors, which gives you an idea as to where you stand, because all these mock tests by different coaching institutes are very helpful in to understand the way the exams and examination patterns are. So I would suggest you take a lot of mock tests, mock interviews, So we can definitely refer, and to what kind of material you can refer to. But definitely preparation is and you cannot put a number to like how many days or years you can prepare. Definitely it's up to your, the strength and the hard work that you put in. But definitely, you will definitely achieve it if you really work hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, actually.
Okay. I hope we answered your question. It's just, we didn't leave it open-ended.
No, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I would like to add up one question.
Yes.
Is there any minimum score criteria or any criteria for reserve sections for the recruitment in the institution
Yes.
of MBA?
I think, every year all these colleges, they have different criteria, because I remember from my own experience when I was preparing, I had a decent score, but then, I missed out on IIMs because my score in the quantitative section was very low. I think it was like something in 60s or something, 60 or 50s. And the IIMs had a pretty high bar even for the reserve category. So we would say that, that's why we stress a lot on all these preparation, how you have to prepare really well, and I don't want anyone to think that, okay, we come from this category, that category. Your preparation should be from the point that you want to crack this exam irrespective of the background that you come from. So, and every year these criteria change. So, I cannot put a number right now saying that, okay, this is how much you have to score, because every year the number changes. Sometimes, the number that particular year's score may come down. So, it can be really low, but, it changes. So it depends on that year's examination, basically, now the score and everything. So, but there is a criteria, different sections, like, the general category, definitely they really have to work really hard, because, getting an IIM is not a joke. You have to score 99 percentile and above in order to get there. So definitely it's there, but there are some relaxations for the categories, but I don't want to stress on that factor, because you have to work hard anyway. So just keeping that in your mind would lead you to just relax and be a little laid back, but we don't want to stress on that factor, because that's why we haven't focused on that particular fact. Because when you enter corporate world, it's not any relaxation. You are treated equally, and you have to work really hard irrespective of which particular background you come from. So yeah, that is one fact that I will stress on.
Oh, am I audible?
Yes.
My question to both the guests is, I wrote CAT 2019 and converted a few IIMs like IIM Jammu, Bodh Gaya, and other new IIMs and big IIMs. So by looking the current market situation, is it a sad bet to go for these colleges which I mentioned?
I think the current, looking as again, we mentioned that the brand name is very important, and all the new IIMs, see, you have to take everything we say with a pinch of salt. Like what we say is not right or wrong. So you have to see everything from your own perspective. Like the IIM brand might help you, but since these are very comparatively very, very new institutions, so it does not. It might not have that kind of stature or the the reputation you may say in the corporate world, or all this job opportunity kind of a factor. So basically, at this point, I don't want to say that, okay, no, it's not the correct right time or the wrong time for doing an MBA, but definitely it's a very tough time, for everyone. Even if you go to an IMA at this point of time, the job market is currently in a very bad shape. You may hear every day that, these many employees got fired from this company, and these are very, very good companies, So because the current situation is such, the economy is doing very, very badly right now, because not only India, all over the world. So the job market for a few, I would say like 1 or 2 years, coming 2 years would be a little, not booming, I would say, but it would definitely be advisable if you want to do an MBA in the coming years, that you work really hard and, try to get an admission in one of the best, and best colleges, so that thought of you not securing a job does not bother you. Stanzin, would you like to add
Yeah,
on
I
this?
would also, yeah. So right now the market is such that irrespective of where you've done your MBA from, that's a very small factor.
Yeah,
See, MBA is sorry, MBA or brand name in that sense is just, it just opens the door for you. How long you stay in the room is totally up to you. How capable
right.
you are, how hardworking you are, how well you're able to cope up and bring new ideas, and how you're able to create a need for you in that room is totally up to you. MBA and a brand name can only open it for you. Now,
Right.
for example, now that we have done, that we are in this situation, this economic situation, I don't think people, like this again, just my personal view. I don't think companies will uh, not let go of, sorry, people just because they are from an IMA or something. It depends on how well you are performing from them and how much value you are bringing to the table. So from that sense, yes, a good institution will definitely open the doors. In tough times, it may be better at opening doors than other institutions.
Yes.
But how
Hmm.
long you stay there is totally up to you. And please note, on the previous topic of reservations and whatnot, that is only till the exam. Huh? After the exam, you have an interview process, a group discussion process. Usually, all that things don't matter over there. It literally boils down to how competent you are and how well you're able to perform in your MBA will not be dictated by your reservation. Just because you had an advantage in the exam does not mean you'll have an advantage in the course or your career, right? So you should, that is an advantage, definitely it's there, you should grab it. I will not say don't apply for it. Definitely go for it, that's not a problem. But that should not be your criteria. Your criteria should always be the best of who you can be, and always compete with yourself to that level.
Thank
Right,
you. I really
definitely. That
appreciate
is
your
very
advice
true.
and input.
Yeah. So again, adding to the last point, as Tanzan said that, a good institute may really open the door for you in a situation like this. But, going and then proving yourself is going to be is you will be on your own in the job market, in the world. So, that is one factor that you have to focus on. But again, I would really stress that, study hard, grab the best seat possible, so that you don't have this thought later on, like, have I done the right thing or not. So that factor should always be there. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm, Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So I have another question. So what are the main subjects that we should have during colleges that would help us to grow better during the MBA entrances in those institutions? Best subject.
Mm. Okay, I think this is a very open question. That is why, in the eligibility criteria, we had added, any field. Basically, MBA does not restrict you to study a particular subject or a particular field that may help you in securing MBA seat. But technical kind of a background, then it may help you. Like, for example, since I think I think I won't be wrong if I say that you have an engineering degree and you are really good at the quantitative part. So it was really easy for him. And then even like I had an economics background, so it might help in the basic structure, but it won't restrict you. Like, having any other degree won't restrict you from aiming for an MBA degree. So that is, I think, the beauty of the degree. It doesn't ask you for like any specifications. It's just the exam that I think. And even the exam, any other exam you would be willing, for example, if you would want to pursue go for a UPSC exam in the future, or like any other competitive exam, the structure is very similar to all the other. It's just maybe the level can be higher, and since the competition is very stiff, you have to prepare a lot, basically, and everything. But I won't say that, okay, if you have done, say, for example, if you've done a degree in history, or you've done a degree in English, then you might not have the edge over somebody who has done an engineering degree and then is getting is clearing the exam. So, but definitely if you have a quantitative subject, then it may help you. Like if you have a mathematics, say honors degree, then definitely it will help you because you would know the basics much better than somebody who's doing a history degree or psychology or any other, creative or liberal arts subjects. So they help you definitely, but the preparation is a different ball game altogether. You have to prepare in every factor. So, that is one thing. I don't know, like Stanton's views must be like maybe different from mine.
It's something similar and something which I've been saying all the time, Jigmet. So I think the most important thing, even preparing for an MBA and during MBA, is balance. So in case you are good at something, in case you are bad at something, prepare that. Okay, that will always help you. For example, first year, a few subjects were torture for me because I had no clue about them. For example, finance, accounting. I used to hate them because I had literally no experience. So in case I had to do my MBA again, I would maybe prepare a little bit of finance, accounting, basic economics. I would study all of these maybe because after you get a seat and before it starts, you have some time. So maybe during that time, I could have prepared these subjects which I was weak in, because then it would have helped my MBA experience. So I'm sure, very similar to what Rigzin is saying, like what you are not good at, maybe focus on that.
Right. So definitely it's a very open kind of, like MBA. I think that is the beauty of the course. You can come from anywhere and you can hope for the best that, I would want to achieve this. And, I think that is the beauty of the course. You can do anything and prepare the exam and just grab a seat in MBA. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Achale. Thank you.
So we have a question from Padma asking that is it a good option to pursue MBA directly after college, or should I apply after doing some job for a year?
I think from my personal experience, what I experienced in my MBA life, I would definitely say if somebody is aspiring for an MBA and if they have the opportunity immediately after college for a job, then that would be the best thing. Anyway, it can be open different viewpoints for different people. But since I was a fresher when I was doing my MBA, and so for me, so I was an open slate, when I was doing my MBA. I didn't know anything what I have to expect, and I knew the subjects, but for me it was like another student life. I passed out of graduation in bachelor's college, went to a different college, and it was a similar experience, right? But when you have a job experience, and I had my peers who had work experience of like 2 to 3 years or 4 years of experience, and they were coming back to the academics and they were doing their MBA. It was a very different experience, how they approached even a basic class. For example, we had all these behavioral science and all these personal management kind of classes. So for us it used to be like, okay, what is happening, we will speak it very light. But for all the other people who are like have work experience, they knew that these are important things which you have to learn in the corporate world. So and for them it was like every step a new learning, at the same time with the backup of what they had already learned in that 2 to 3 years of work experience. And it does help in secure when, as Tanzan also pointed out, like when you're getting campus placements or anything, when you have a job experience, people do favor you. But I won't say that being a fresher will be any will lack or anything, but at the same time it does open up more opportunities for you, because at the end of the day MBA is more of a adding to what you already are good or best at. And like an MBA degree would be something like a cherry on top kind of a situation. So having a work experience would be really good.
Yeah. I'll add some things to
Yes.
that. One, definitely when you have work experience and you come to an MBA, one thing is you bring experience. How that helps you is in any subject which you're studying, you're able to relate to it to a different level. Organization behavior and cases like that, which Rigzin was talking about, people are able to bring up memories where they were in a similar situation,
Right.
and share that. And that really amplifies the whole education in that sense. Another thing is, because you have experienced working, you know a little bit of what you should or what you personally want to focus on. So in that sense, MBA, because it allows you to exit and hello, yeah, because MBA allows you to exit in many different areas. If you have experience, you can bring that and fine tune what you want to pursue. Right now, in case now after 2 years of experience, Rigzin and I are getting bored and we want to shift. Like MBA, like doing a second MBA, obviously is possible, but is not ideal, right?
Right.
So I would also, like Rigzin said, if you have a good opportunity before MBA to do work experience, I would, if I were in your situation, I would grab it. But definitely, it boils down to personal preference also. But if it was me, I would go for work experience.
Our collective suggestion would be, if anyone is willing to, to pursue an MBA, then I think having a work experience would be a good idea. But at the same time, being a fresher, obviously, we are not saying that it's not good. You can definitely opt for it, but if we were given a chance to do our MBA again, so probably we would do it after our work experience, probably. Yeah.
Another thing I would like to add is, in some situations, freshers are given benefit. Okay, they do prefer freshers over people who have work experience, because that can be a conflict of culture or something else. So that is also there. So it's not necessarily one is better than the other. It's just how you might want to take it. Another thing which I wanted to say is, yes, okay. So from a work experience perspective, like, okay, now this is like maybe out of the way, but from an MBA perspective, in case you are very adamant about working abroad, then MBA might not be the best thing, because technical expertise is given preference over managerial experience. So in case that is something which you want to do, like, I want to settle in Australia and work there for the rest of my life, maybe having technical experience, technical experience will definitely be better for that. But that's a very different conversation. Just wanted to point it out. Yeah.
So, sir, I have a question here.
Yeah.
As you mentioned that technical knowledge is very important for getting a good job, or so I come from an engineering background, so I don't have any experience. I'm a fresher. So what kind of technical experience you have? Could you please explain
Like
it?
for example, like I also have an engineering background, and I have, say, experience in like my degree is in computer science. Now, if I have experience in computer science or any other technical background, like engineering, hardcore engineering, civil engineering, mechanical, or anything, those are given preference in terms of work visas, is what I'm saying. Work visas is what I'm saying. It's not that it's impossible to get, work abroad via MBA. It's just tougher, and you are below in the queue. That's about it.
Just to add on that, if you talk about technical one, being an engineer, maybe, okay. So this question is more related to me, so I would answer maybe. So if you're on the technical side, and you have been working a lot, especially suppose if you're a transport planner or something, or a structural engineer who does the designs of the buildings, or even a bridge designer or highways designer, and you have been working for those countries for a couple of years, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you have the experience, and if you want to move over to UK, US, or any other countries, that helps you, because that comes under within their visa category, there's skilled labor, or especially skilled laborers. So that comes under a resource scarcity within their country. So that allows you to migrate on the work visas for initial 5 years, if you talk about UK, and after that you can apply for again continuing, and then follow on citizenship, or permanently working over there, and green card or anything like that. So that's the technical part. If we talk about technical part, it's at least more than 2 to 3 years of experience, I would say, before. And even in the technical field, it's not very easy to grab very quickly. So initial 1 year goes, again, understanding the work culture, because again, you haven't learned about anything about organizational behavior, or even how to work ethics, or anything which these people have studied in their MBA. So you may be straightforward coming from your engineering background, and then jumping in a company. if you get recruited as a fresher, and then you spend up at least 3 to 4, 6 months to understanding the organizational culture, how it works, what's happened, and then you slowly start gradually pick up technical skills, and you're a fresher in the technical area, and again you will hone those skills. So it's a couple of 3 to 4 years at least, I would say, to gain a specialty over those skill set, and then you can migrate if you want. I hope that helps. Thanks.
So during the previous session, there was a question in the chat on if we could elaborate on some of the exams which we had mentioned. I think Rigzin is in a much better state to answer those questions if that person is still here and wants to ask anything specific.
Yeah, we had mentioned different sets of exams. I would just go back to the screen and share. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, so basically CAT is, of course, is well known to everyone, is the most, important exam from the perspective of an MBA if you want to pursue. But not all the organizations accept the CAT scores, because various reasons, like, in institutions like, for example, ZAT and Symbiosis, IFT have their own, heritage or so to say, their own background, and they have made their own niche and sort of established themselves. So they have their own set of admission process for which we have different exams. So ZAT is again for XLRI, the exam which is again, it's a specialized MBA. If you want to do human resources management, then which is mostly human resources is basically your administration, which is managing the people, which takes care of all the hiring and the structure and basically managing everyone. And it's a very tough job. You have to be really good with you have to be really good with people skills. The people management skill is one thing that I think the corporate world is really looking forward for individuals to possess. And that can be a very lucrative career for anyone. So if you are really good with people and you can really manage large groups of people, and then if you really think that no, I can, if I might not be someone who can, just different people have different inclinations or like way in which they want to do their business, like their work or career. So somebody might be really good or technical and want to be in banking and finance, be an investment banker, or like is really good in marketing, and then but all these people are at the end managed by someone else, who might not have that knowledge but is very expert at managing people. So this can also be a very lucrative career if somebody is willing, looking forward for a job which is normally taking care of the human resources, which is the most important resource that an organization can have, because at the end it's your human resources which run the organization. Irrespective, it's not the machines, which machines may overpower in the future, but for now it's the humans. Human resources is one of the most important. So that is one thing. And Symbiosis is also one of the private institutes in the southern part of the country in Pune. So it's a very well-reputed college. It has its own exam. So that is one thing. And IIFT is in Delhi, focuses more on an international kind of a management structure. And IRMA, yeah, I would like to stress on IRMA because it's one of an initiative by the government. It's about management in the rural structure, like how rural management works. So, like we don't obviously have expertise in this, but I would like to stress that if somebody is, for example, have an agricultural background and would like to do something, in the rural part, then probably exploring this option can also be a very good idea. But again, we are in no position to, answer your question. So like, are the placements good? Are the work career opportunities after that are like any good? But we won't answer in that because even we haven't done much research, but we know this option exists and it's a very well reputed college. So you can think about that. And MICA is again an organization, institute in Ahmedabad, that focuses in the marketing, part of marketing management. So if you are really into all these creative agencies, if you're this creative skills, I want to explore this management kind of a structure, then MICA can be one of the institutes that you would like to explore. And TIS, I also mentioned earlier, it focuses more on a very social kind of a structure, wherein you may learn not a very, capitalist kind of a management course they might not be having. Like, I haven't read about the entire curriculum, but I think from what I have initially read, or from heard from people, it's very of the structure in itself is very socially inclined. So that is one of the things. And so these are only a few of the most, I would say, I wouldn't say famous, but the exams you can hope for. And there are you can do your research also as to other exams that may exist. And these are, mind you, again, Indian examinations that you can appear for in India. We did not touch anything on the international MBA, because that is a very vast, topic altogether, if you want to do an international MBA. So I think we can get someone who has an international MBA, and if they would like to share the experience, that would be really good. Yeah. Any other question?
One question from my side. So in general, people also always fancy about, okay, first the difficult exam, and after that the hefty fee. So after that, the pressure to get into a proper job with a good CTC. So what do you think, because the main concern with many students might be that they are not able to cope up, or they might not be able to afford the lakhs of rupees that they need to pay for MBA course. So what are the alternatives, or what are the challenges that a student might face, and how they can overcome this?
Sanjan, I think you can start with this.
Okay. For most of the top universities, there are very good, really, really good student loans available, in case that's one of the routes you want to take. The other aspect, is in choosing the institution which you want to do it. One of the best institutions in the country, FMS, charges one of the least amounts of money. And that's why, how Rigzin said, the ROI is crazy on FMS. Obviously, the experience might differ, and because all institutions will have different experiences. In that sense, there's other decisions, other factors also which might impact your decisions. But from a financial standpoint, in case you're unable to afford it, there are institutions in place and instruments in place which will easily easily give you access to that, especially if you're targeting on a few of the top institutions, because they know that you'll be able to pay it forward. Secondly, there are institutions which charge less. That's also another option. So in that sense, financing, though challenging, is something which is very very widely available and very easily available. So that should not be a problem. In terms of stress of studying and coping up with the MBA life and post and careers and stuff like that, I think what Rigzin said, MBA is a very group oriented system. So the first, obviously, I would say, whenever I used to feel low or something, I definitely had a good bunch of friends around me who would definitely help me, be it in terms of academics or any other support I might need. Secondly, in terms of institution, most of the MBAs would have career counseling and mental health facility, not mental health, but yeah, support facilities available, which I also personally did go and took advantage of, because there were a lot of doubts in my initial months in MBA as well. So in that sense, there are systems in place and groups in place which will definitely help you through the process. Rigzin, if you have anything to add.
Yes, I think what Karthik said, the the concern regarding the economical factor is a very real concern. When I was preparing for MBA, that was one of the biggest concerns of mine also. So that's why, when I was preparing, even when I was thinking, I did did do a very cost benefit analysis kind of in the entire situation, if I get into an MBA, for of the best institutions, like say an IIM, or say even FMS, I did got shortlisted for the FMS seat also. But so my preference would have been, very frankly speaking, if given a chance, would have been FMS, because that is one of the best ROIs that an organization can offer. And so when I was also preparing, I saw the colleges which gives the best ROI, and IIT, when I was choosing the college, had the best reputation, and it's one of the most esteemed organizations that can offer you any kind of technical or any other kind of a degree. So the economical thing is very real. People who I feel that from the very Ladakhi kind of a culture, I am not a very risk taker kind of a person. So when I did my cost benefit analysis, for me the fees was one of the criteria on which I would have chosen the college, right? So that is a real concern. So there are institutions which offer charges very minimal amount, like IITs also does not charge a very bomb amount, like I would no offense to the IIMs, but they charge very minimal amount, and it's a very, from the ROI perspective, it's very great, and the name, of course, the brand name is also there, so if you are getting an admission in an IIM, and if you are really facing the financial challenges, but even getting into IIM, I think they do consider, and they have facilities, if you are really capable, and if you have financial problems, then they do cater to students who are have the ability but not the financial means. So they cater to that kind of section also. I think Sanjan can elaborate on the same thing if if I'm wrong. But when I was preparing, I also saw all these things. Are there any financial aids that I can look for? So student loans, of course, were there. I could have also taken a student loan and got the education. But again, the kind of a mindset that I come from, in Ladakh, taking a student loan and getting an education is not the trend even now. I don't think it's coming in trend even now. So that would have been a challenge. Even I would have thought should I take it, or should I not? But there are institutions which provide, like FMS is the best organization, institution if you can aim for a financial challenge is one of the things that you are worried about. And other colleges like IITs also are very economical and good ROI. Yes, so that is one thing. And as Karthik said, the stress. So I would say, and I think Sanjan would agree on the thing that the first year of MBA is very stressful. Especially the first 3 months of MBA is crazy. So I remember my first 3 months, it was all about the kind of an induction session into the MBA world. It was I wouldn't be bragging if I say it, and I just slept 3 to 4 hours in a month, because it was so rigorous, and it was not the whole academic session, it was more of a student to student learning process. Our seniors would come and they would take classes and sessions, and that would stretch to midnight, 1 o'clock and everything, and we would have group discussions and everything. So I would say that I did break down in the initial session, but whether is this the correct thing that I'm doing, it's so stressful. But I think in a way, it makes you more stronger, for able to see that what is coming in the future. Probably you may be better prepared for a different kind of crisis situations. Of course, stress is there. First year of MBA is no joke. You first you have the academics. Secondly, you have to prove to that all that group to set up. And then you may not be I was a very individual kind of a person who always would like to study in peace. And have that space of mind. But MBA is altogether a different ball game. You have to work with other people, and you have to manage them well. And then all the factors, that thing that, this person is not working, that person is not working, the whole contribution, these factors also come, but it all teaches you something at the end. Yeah. Anything, Sanjan, you would like to add?
And from another perspective, which I just remembered, is that in case, if you are capable and you do get through IIMs. And I'll be frank, IIM charge like a lot of money, because they come from the ethos that anyone who's able to get into IIM and do an IIM degree will be able to afford it later on. So from that perspective, like it is not subsidized at all. So that is one thing. But in case you do need economical help, and depending on depending on your financial background of your family, etc., at least we had an option where they would reduce the fee. So that was also there. So it's obviously it depends on a lot of factors, and in terms of ROI, like even I don't know his name. Sorry, his name is 2020 on the screen. He also has written that FMS is definitely one of the best ROIs. That is no doubt. That is no doubt.
Definitely, it's the best, I would say, in the country from the perspective of the whole economical point of view. But again, every college has its own, like FMS. I won't say drawback, but it, for example, it's a very small campus, and in an MBA, the campus also matters, you guys. You have to have the entire experience of that life also. So see, everything is like, you have to take everything with a pinch of salt, and you have to, do your own analysis as to, what may suit you better. Like for people like in an IIM campus, or for example, an IIT campus, in the whole aura of the organization also helps in building up a person's, personality, I feel. Like, that's my
yeah.
Sir, out of curiosity, I got a question in my mind. Could you please tell me, is there any scholarship facility for IIM students in IIM college? In IIMs?
Scholarships, yes, there are too many scholarships to note down. And the problem with scholarships, what ends up happening is you're not aware. That's the biggest problem with scholarships.
Right.
There are so many scholarships that you won't be aware of what all there are. And it can be some states also give scholarships, some institutions give scholarships, some companies give scholarships. So there are many scholarships. I knew like one of my friend, very very close friend. He did his exchange, roughly 5 to 6 lakhs of expense for free because he got scholarship on exchange. So that is scholarships will be there across. I'm pretty sure at least the top institutions will be there across. But again, it is very meritocratic in the sense that you have to be like the best of the best to be able to get it. Okay. And the biggest challenge, like I also said, is not being aware of the scholarship. There are too many scholarships to be aware of.
Yes, I think even like when I was there, I was doing my research, I found, like, I don't remember right now, but there was some state scholarship. Like currently the entire state setup is different for us. But anyway, when we were part of the erstwhile state of J&K, so there were scholarships for, J&K students who were really deserving, and then, have got certain marks in their 10th and 12th and, colleges, and if they're deserving, they would not entirely financed, but I remember seeing that, you may get subsidized on your fees, to some extent. So there are scholarships, I think we will do some research so that, it can be helpful for people who are like, really, for which economical means is one of the, factors deciding, being a blockage for their career. So we can also do some research on what kind of scholarships are available. I think it's a very good point that Karthun pointed out. And it is a very real challenge, and it's a real thing, that not everyone has the means to, think about, getting a degree, which is, I won't say fancy, but, definitely can be a trouble, for different set of people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other question? Yeah.
Okay. I think we don't have any more questions, so we will end this session. So
sure.
That's all from our side. I hope you are getting some knowledge from this session, and we would like to thank our mentors for taking their precious times and helping us to know more about MBA. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
It was definitely.
Yes, I think. Yeah. Yes, Tanzil, would you like to say something?
No. It was definitely a pleasure, and at least I like, in case you have any specific questions and want to reach out, I'm assuming Rigzin also would be available. I don't know how much value we'll be able to add, but we'll try and answer to the best of our extent.
Yes.
And thank you. And like, thank you, Lumsden, for giving us this opportunity also, because it's a two-way thing. Yeah, that's about it. Stay safe, stay home, stay away from people right now.
Yes, I think it's very well put. I would like to thank Langstan and Khatundu for inviting us. As again, I would say, when initially when we said we will do, we were really nervous as to what kind of things we would say, and so I just want to tell everyone that we are anyway we just started out as working in this kind of a setup. So we are much nearer to you guys than being a professional in the world. So, you can ask us any damn thing or any damn question that you may have, crazy question. We'll be available and we'll try our best, because also we are not experts on the field also. We happen to do the course and we happen to get all the jobs and everything. But we will also, if we don't know anything, we will do our research, and we will definitely try and answer everything. So I hope this session we gave was fruitful for everyone, and hope we didn't bore you enough. But yeah, thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you both again from my side as well and from Lamson's side. I believe that due to network issues, many students might not have been able to join the session. But anyhow, we will be uploading this on YouTube, and you can, if you have lost any questions or anything, you can revisit and see, analyze, and get all the insightful thoughts of what Rigzin and Science have already shared. And one more thing, Rigzin has always been associated with Lamson from the very start, as a student as well, when she was in LSR, Lady Shri Ram College. So it's always good to have you again as a professional now. You were a mentor initially, and you are a mentor, and we hope that you will still continue to guide the early career professionals going ahead when you be more experienced.
Definitely.
So
yeah, sure. I'll always be available.
Thank you, Stanzin, as well for joining. And yeah, it's good to see someone from DTU/DC.
Yeah.
Now it's completely DTU. So yeah, okay. We were the last batch of DC basically. So anyways, and all the students who have aspirants who have joined, please get in touch. You have already been added to the WhatsApp group for MBA mentorship. And if you have any relevant questions, you have the contact number of Stanzin and Rigzin in that group as well, and share among wider students or aspirants who could benefit with this mentorship. And thank you all. Stay safe. Okay, thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.